Most people expect change to announce itself. A big decision, with sudden burst of motivation, or a moment where everything finally feels different. That moment rarely comes. Most real change happens quietly, without feedback, without applause. So quietly that people assume nothing is working and stop. That misunderstanding is the reason most attempts at self-improvement fail.
This episode is built from a long-form conversation with James Clear, where he talks less about discipline and more about the invisible mechanics behind behavior. There's no intensity here, no heroic routine or dramatic turning point. What Clear describes is slower than motivation and far less satisfying in the short term. It's a way of changing that works precisely because it doesn't feel like change at all.
Lesson 1. Goals don't control behavior, systems do. Goals are useful for setting direction. They give you something to aim at. What they don't do is control what happens on a random Tuesday when energy is low and distractions are everywhere. James points out that winners and losers often share the same goals. Everyone wants better health, more money, more focus. The difference isn't desire, it's structure. Systems decide what happens when motivation disappears. They define what's easy, what's hard, and what happens by default. If your system makes bad behavior convenient and good behavior difficult, goals become irrelevant. Goals set the destination. Systems decide whether you ever move.
Lesson 2. Identity shapes habits before motivation ever shows up. Most people try to change outcomes first. They want to run more, read more, eat better, work harder. He argues that this approach fails because it ignores identity. Behavior doesn't change sustainably until the underlying self-image shifts. Habits are not just actions, they are evidence. Each repetition is a quiet vote for the type of person you believe you are. Over time, those votes accumulate into identity. You don't wake up motivated every day, but you do act in ways that feel consistent with who you think you are. Change becomes durable only when habits reinforce identity instead of fighting it.
Lesson 3. Small changes feel meaningless until they don't. Tiny improvements feel weak, almost insulting. They don't deliver emotional payoff. They don't feel proportional to the size of the problem. That's why people abandon them quickly and look for something more intense. James highlights a flaw in human perception. We expect progress to be linear and immediate. In reality, progress is delayed. Small actions compound quietly for a long time before results become visible. Most people quit during that invisible phase. The ones who don't aren't more motivated. They simply understand that lack of evidence is not evidence of lack.
Lesson 4. Environment shapes behavior more than willpower. Willpower sounds admirable. It also fails regularly. He shows that behavior is largely a response to what's around you. What's visible gets used. What's convenient gets repeated. What's hidden gets ignored. Most decisions aren't made consciously. They're made by default, shaped by layout, friction, and cues you barely notice. Changing the environment removes the need for constant self-control. Instead of fighting temptation, you redesign the battlefield so fewer battles happen in the first place.
Lesson 5. Consistency wins because it survives bad days. Intensity feels productive. Consistency feels boring. James argues that boredom is an advantage. Intense routines collapse when energy drops. Consistent routines survive bad moods, busy schedules, and low motivation. The people who change don't do more, they do less, more reliably. They focus on actions small enough that skipping them feels harder than doing them. Consistency doesn't create dramatic moments, it creates inevitability. Here's the part that surprises most people. James didn't become influential by doing anything dramatic. No extreme schedule, no radical lifestyle overhaul, no personal mythology built around suffering. His entire philosophy is built on accepting something most people resist. The methods that actually work are boring. There's nothing exciting about setting up systems. There's nothing heroic about repeating small behaviors, or something cinematic about progress that takes months to feel real. The odd truth is that the approach people dismiss is too simple, is the one that quietly changes lives, while louder methods burn out and disappear. You don't need more motivation, you need fewer negotiations with yourself. Change doesn't feel powerful at first. It feels repetitive, it feels dull, it feels like nothing is happening until suddenly it is. If you want the full framework behind this way of thinking, Atomic Habits isn't a book about discipline. It's about building systems that keep working when motivation fades. Subscribe if you're done waiting for change to feel exciting.